parenting, they always say that you must give your children the roots and then give them the wings to fly. Because the wings you'll only be able to use those wings if you're firmly anchored. And that I think every parent, we are also trying to do this. Our parents did this. So I think that very, very aptly sums up what parenting should be all about.
Earlier I used to sulk. I used to say that, oh, this person should have known.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody is guessing. Nobody has the time or is interested to guess what you need. So I have started spelling it out. Believe in yourself, pursue your passions, and never let anyone diminish your worth or your potential. Live life as a victor and not as a victim.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
To be in two places at the same time.
Only two? Hi, Devapriya, and welcome to the About Her show. This is a show, as you know, where we get trailblazing women to share the story of their lives with us, to tell us about their successes, challenges, failures, all of it. And not only do they get to showcase themselves and talk about themselves, but they also give us an opportunity to inspire our listeners, other women who have dreams and ambitions, but for some reason are not able to pursue them. And along with women, we also have men on the show, men who champion such women, because we believe that for a truly gender inclusive world, both men and women need to be allies in this journey. So, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Sangeeta. And it's a real pleasure to be here with you today. And, before we dive into our conversation, I wanted to thank you for having me on this show to discuss this very relevant and powerful topic, which you've outlined so beautifully. And I also want to share how much the word about her resonates with me. As a very powerful term that puts women at the center of the narrative, which is very important because too often women's stories, achievements, perspectives are completely sidelined and overlooked. And despite and this is not a small town syndrome. It's everywhere. When I think about the word about her, it kind of flips that script. It's declarative, it's focused, and it boldly and loudly says that women's experiences matter.
They do.
So it's something that I'd love to really get deeper into with you over the next however many minutes we have together. Also, personally, I wanted to say that I find that amplifying women's voices and accelerating their success is so critical. It's mission critical to me because I'm on a mission to help more and more women become job creators and significant contributors to the economy so that they can be truly financially free and take their decisions not out of duress but out of bold choice. So therefore, really delighted to be here with you today.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you. I was trying to, kind of figure it out. It wasn't working out, but finally it did. Like they say that things happen when they're meant to happen. So I guess today is the day.
Today is the day, and it's a very auspicious day. It's a very good day.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay, so let's get started. So as an icebreaker, so can you tell us a little bit about your early days, your childhood, and if you think any of your experiences from those days helped shape your personality and helped you become what you are today, who you are today?
Okay, so not too many people really ask me about my childhood because it was like so many years ago. But it's always a joy to reflect on my childhood because I had the most beautiful childhood, Sangeeta. I grew up in Calcutta, and I was the older of two daughters. So even then, we were brought up like boys. The way boys are supposed to be brought up. We were given the best of everything. Education, the best of education, the best of classes, hobbies. I think global exposure happened very early in life because we traveled a lot. So, but at the same time, we were brought up within the guardrails of very strict tradition, convention, rules. So I think One thing that my father always used to tell us is, which has become pretty cliched now, but those days, he was pretty much a pathbreaking person. And those days, he told us, it's explained to us the concept of roots and wings,
Yeah.
you know. And our roots, I think, thanks to our upbringing and thanks to my childhood, our roots run very deep. But
Mm.
we were given the opportunities and the exposure to really spread our wings and fly.
Yeah.
So I would say that when you ask me if there's any part of my childhood that made me who I am, I think that's one thing that I would love to share is that who I am today is really deeply embedded in a very liberated and a very sort of yet very traditional childhood upbringing,
Mm.
which sort of, allowed us to dream but kept us very, very anchored.
Yeah. I think that is so, so very essential when they talk about parenting. They always say that you must give your children the roots and then give them the wings to fly. Because the wings will, you'll only be able to use those wings if you're firmly anchored. And that I think every parent, we are also trying to do this. Our parents did this. So I think that very, very aptly sums up what parenting should be all about. So tell me, of course, with all the freedom that you got and the exposure and the awareness, you were able to pretty much do what you wanted to do in life. And of course, now you have come to the stage where you're helping other women and, giving them that kind of exposure and awareness. But I'm sure this journey was fraught with challenges. I mean, nothing comes easy. But when we, hear someone talk about their challenges, it kind of gives us that solace and that comfort that we're not alone in our journey. So if you could, elaborate on some of those challenges which had to do with the professional side of your life, and also if you think that some of those were because of your gender.
Amazing question. And something that I'd love to answer so that more people can take away some learnings through my experiences.
Mm.
So absolutely, there have been challenges,
Yeah.
and the challenges started right at the beginning when I left a very safe environment and went to B school,
Mm.
and had to cope because everything said and done, we were brought up in a very, despite all the exposure and everything, we were brought up in a very sort of a cloistered environment where we were quite protected.
Mm.
Um, so coming into the big bad world, so to speak, happened when I moved from Calcutta to Delhi and came here for my MBA education. There were
Mm.
many challenges settling down, sort of busting stereotypes and adjusting, becoming more flexible. I think those things started then and there.
Mm.
But then the challenges at every phase of life have continued.
Yeah.
In the corporate space, navigating leadership roles as a woman
Mm.
often meant overcoming biases,
Yeah.
working twice as hard to prove my worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, if I go back to the initial days, I cut my teeth in the corporate world through a again, very traditional FMCG organization.
Mm.
And we had to be out in the field at a very young age in North India.
Mm.
So that's when I probably had my first experiences of how difficult it was to be a woman and yet do a quintessentially man's job.
Mhm.
Learned how to navigate that, learned how to not rub uh, feathers very too badly,
Mhm.
yet to occupy space and yet to really be able to hold our own. Um, I think the learning started then and there.
Mm.
Uh, in the corporate world, there were conscious as well as unconscious biases.
Yeah.
And, at times, in initial years, one didn't really know whether it was happening.
Mm.
You wanted to wish it away, but certain things happened, and you sort of, then learned how to be firm and assertive, yet
Yeah.
not take anything, but
Mhm.
go with the flow. Um, as life developed, as family and children came into the picture, there were very, very serious work-life balance issues.
Yeah.
So I learned how to move from calling it work-life balance to work-life integration, and I think that was a very powerful life skill because I learned how to integrate my work into my overall life and create it as part of my portfolio life, so to speak.
Mm.
There was so much of stereotyping. There was so much of microaggressions,
Yeah.
and things like you really can't point your finger on it, but it's really happening.
Yeah.
Um, I've predominantly been in male-dominated fields. My last role was with an alcobev company,
Mm.
and there were daily microaggressions, such
Yeah.
as being talked over in meetings, being told that probably I was a diversity candidate when when I actually got to the bottom of it, I wasn't, but it was just like a man trying to um, snub me.
Yeah.
Um, Having my ideas dismissed in a boardroom sometimes, or being judged, and this is the crucial one, being judged based on my appearance rather than my skills.
Mm. Mm.
And all of this would happen, and it still happens in many ways, but then you learn to prioritize. If you have mentors and role models, you learn from them, because if you can see it, you can be it. I think a lot of my challenges got mitigated because the kind of role models I've had, because of the inner resilience that was being built with sort of every challenge that I came across. I was able to sort of see how I surmount these challenges, and today these experiences really stand me in good stead when I work for and with women.
Right.
So that was really the corporate world, and some of it still happens as an entrepreneur.
Mm.
But as an entrepreneur, some of the challenges are a little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those challenges, and you know this better than anybody else.
Mm.
Those challenges shifted to things like stakeholders taking you seriously,
Yeah.
you being able to find and build the right networks, because your business really depends on the networks that you find and nurture. Raising capital, which
Mm.
can be really, really difficult for women.
Mm.
Your ability, I would say, to scale a business is questioned every single day. This is what happens.
Yeah.
And, I'll just share with you an anecdote or an experience. Um, when I had initially launched Connexus way back in 2019, it was in a different avatar. And I had a male co-founder.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was so strange. Anybody, whether it was a man or a woman, any stakeholder, any vendor, any prospect, customer, partner, anybody who wanted to sort of do business with us, very naturally looked at me as the face of the brand, looked at me for the strategy and the marketing and the external stuff, and spoke to him about finance and operations and those kind of things,
Mm.
fundraising,
Mm.
all of that. Whereas both of us did almost everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't really as if we had decided that, okay, no, you're a man, therefore you're going to be you're going to wear the finance hat and you're going to work on the business, and I'm going to work externally.
Mm.
So I would say that gender undoubtedly plays a role. Um, but I would also say that it's been a source of strength and motivation for me to really break those barriers and pave the way for others, which is really my purpose and the reason why I founded Connexus.
Mm. So true. Actually, I think it is all these challenges, while of course we cannot justify them in any way, but I think these are it is these challenges which make us women so resilient. Because if we decide that we have to do something, then come what may, we will face. And these challenges actually, in a way, become opportunities for our growth. I don't think people who are presenting those challenges know this or realize this, but I think we turn all of this to our advantage. It's hard, it's difficult, sometimes sounds impossible, but we manage to do it. So I think kudos to all of us who are managing to do it. So,
Absolutely, and I would sort of add that it's like a diamond, under pressure. How do you become a diamond?
yes,
It's your inner resilience, and resilience is a word that's tossed around very, very easily these days. But I think as women, when we reflect on our journey, we really realize that it is resilience is the cornerstone of our progress and really who we are.
yeah, absolutely. So, Devapriya, you were talking about the role of mentors and role models, people you can look up to when you definitely need them, because when you see them, you can also do it because you then realize it's possible and you can do it. So, if you were to look back on your life, can you kind of just tell us about some of those mentors, models? Because I'm sure there wasn't only one person, there must have been many people. So, if you could share some of those experiences with us.
I mean, you can see when you ask me about my mentors, my smile gets wider and broader.
Yes.
Because I've been fortunate to have so many mentors in
Mm.
my journey. I could not have done it on my own. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not an overstatement to say that I stand on the shoulders of giants.
Mm.
Um, Bosses, role models throughout my career who have guided and supported me. Some of my ex-bosses I'm still in touch with, and they're just a phone call away.
Mm.
Especially I would say my boss at my second workplace. He Though he was the CEO of the company, it just so happened that officially or unofficially, he sort of mentored me throughout and even beyond
Mm.
that organization, and I'm still in touch with him. So, like I said, there have been so many, and actually talking about all of them in this one small conversation will not probably do justice to all of it. But one person I really want to highlight as someone who's been my biggest inspiration is my father.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and he instilled in me the values of hard work,
Mm.
consistency,
Mm.
perseverance,
Mm.
integrity
Yeah.
from a very young age, and he himself has been a living example of this. So we've kind of lived and grown up with a person who embodied these values,
Mm.
and he really truly walked the talk. And he started his career at 21, and even now at the age of 79, he
Mm.
works full time. He travels. In fact, even today he's in Mumbai on work. He
Mm.
does, he's adapted to technology. He does Zoom calls, sends WhatsApp messages, meets
Yeah.
customers, and gets ready and goes to work in his formal best,
Wow.
every day.
Mm.
So, a lot of these things I've imbibed, I've learned,
Yeah.
and he has always encouraged me to push boundaries and never really settle for less than what I deserved, which
Mm.
is why at the age of 42, I was able to become an entrepreneur. I was able to hang up my corporate boots and become an entrepreneur.
Mm.
So, impossible as nothing is something that I learned from him, and I persevere every day, keeping his vision in my mind, thinking that in the morning, sometimes it's difficult to get started,
Yeah.
especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're hustling on your own. But
Mm.
I just think to myself, and every morning at 10 o'clock, he will call me and he'll be on his way to work at that time. And I think to myself, if Baba at the age of 79 is doing this, then
Yeah.
what excuse do I have? So,
Yeah.
yes, it is my dad who fuels me every single day.
So look at this. See how it happens, because it could be anyone. And if, of course, it's a parent, even more so. I think, it's just that you just need that little, thing to ignite you. And you are raring to go because like you said, if he can do it at this age, then what is stopping you? Sometimes, yes, you do feel a little maybe, weighed down by life and, all of that is happening. But then you've got to pull yourself up. And who better to guide you in those times than a role model? Okay. So, a woman who gave up her corporate life to start her own venture, and a venture that's doing extremely well, as I understand. So, if you were to share three tips with someone who wants to start their own venture, what would be those top of the mind three tips?
Okay. Many tips, but since you're asking me to give you three tips, let me think of how, what the most important one for me has been, and what it should be for most entrepreneurs, because it really will help you sustain.
Yeah.
And I would say the topmost would be to align with a clear purpose, because women are very purpose driven. So if we have a very clear why, uh, it motivates us, it gives us reason, and it keeps us going every single day.
Yeah.
So I would say that beyond profit, of course, money is important. Like I also said initially, revenue, money, making your own money is extremely important. But beyond profit, anchor your business in a purpose that resonates with you,
Hmm.
and find an audience for that purpose as well.
Okay.
And having a strong why behind what you do fuels long-term success and creates a deeper connection with your ideal clients,
Okay.
especially in today's purpose-driven market where, you know, everything, or at least the businesses that are going the distance, are based on a very, very clear why.
Hmm.
Then, then the next thing I would say, and again, people talk about networking in a very, sometimes it's a very debatable topic, but I would say that from my experience, I would always say that cultivate a strong network. And
Hmm.
going back to mentors and peers, surround yourselves with mentors and peers, build your personal advisory board,
Hmm. Hmm.
follow industry experts. A solid support system can provide guidance,
Yeah.
open doors to opportunities, and help you navigate challenges like nothing ever can.
Hmm.
No social media, no, followers, nothing can replace the power of a well cultivated, strategically cultivated network.
Hmm.
And networking is often just as valuable as skill building. So
Yeah.
building your network is as important as building your skill.
Hmm.
And I would say that uh, turn authenticity into strategy. So be strategically authentic, be unapologetically authentic.
Hmm.
And in a world, why I'm saying this, in a world where brands and founders are often polished to perfection,
Hmm.
authenticity still stands out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Share your personal journey. Nobody else can do it as well as you do. So, for me, I cannot have someone externally, or agency or anybody
Hmm.
draft out what I want to say on social media. Everything is painstakingly crafted by me.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
my challenges, my values are shared openly,
Yeah.
and people are drawn to stories and experiences that they can relate to, and making authenticity a strategic asset. So I would say these are the top three things, and if I can add one more, Sangeeta,
Yeah.
because it is really, something which I learned the hard way, but
Hmm.
this is something that I urge every founder to learn,
Hmm.
is that become financially savvy, develop a business acumen, and don't outsource your finances. Somebody can run your finances for you, but you must know what's going on in your business as far as finances go. So
Yeah.
financial literacy for a woman founder is very, very important, but this is something that we kind of tend to outsource to to a male counterpart.
Yeah.
It might sound like a very radical statement, but I've seen this happening over and over again. And if you're not in control of your money, if you're not in control of your finances, you cannot have a strong grip over your business. So these
Absolutely.
are some of the non-negotiable tips I would think that I
Absolutely.
would like to.
I agree. If you don't have control over anything that you're doing, whether it's finance or it's anything related to your business, then you just can't survive. So I think very, very critical, very crucial tips that you shared. And I mean, as you were speaking, I was also, trying to reflect, okay, what is it that I don't do? What is it that I can work on? So this is the power, when you are sharing this, when we are kind of letting this go through, I think a lot of women, a lot of people will be able to understand, why, how it is important. So great tips there.
Yeah, and all of this, Sagita, has happened. This awareness has come to me through my experiences, my own experiences, and through the experiences of the founders that I work so closely with.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these are, might sound very basic, but we tend to overlook the basics. So every time I want to put it out there that these are the four things, please make sure you're ticking all four boxes, without which you can't lay the foundation for a really rock solid business.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So, of course, running a successful business is one part of who you are, and then the other part is your personal side. And as I always say, everybody has a personal and professional side to their lives, but with women, it becomes a tad more difficult because of the pressures that we are under, constantly, the societal pressures of being present, of doing so many things, managing so many fronts. So it's always a challenge to balance the two sides. So how do you do it in your life?
Doesn't come easy.
Yeah.
It's a challenge every single day
Mm.
because you're wearing multiple hats.
Yeah.
But it's all about sort of, again, I'd mentioned work-life integration. So
Yeah.
really thinking that work is a part of your overall life and making others also believe that and understand that very clearly.
Mm.
So very early in my entrepreneurial corporate life was very different because you got up and you went to work, and somehow people are such that because you have a visiting card and because you have a designation and you go into a workplace, you're
Mm.
working. But when I became an entrepreneur, and not too many people would disturb me around then. If I'm on a work trip, people won't disturb. If I'm at office, they would say that, oh, she's at office, don't give her these calls. But the minute I became an entrepreneur,
Mm.
guess what happened? People thought that I was available for every household chore, for all the PTMs, for all the plumbers, and leaky taps and carpenters and groceries and chores, and of course the caregiving.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so because they saw this person always physically there in the home, in the family, around. So for me, very early on, I I I sat down and I told people in my ecosystem that I take my work, I am working full time. I take it very seriously, and you also have to take it as a full time. You also have to understand that this is a full time career.
Yeah.
So and that work is a very, very important part of my life. And if I'm not working, then I won't be able to bring my best selves to you. So this is something that setting those expectations was very important,
Mm.
in my head, in their heads as well, that okay, my work and my life are integrated. It
Mm.
makes me who I am. And then compartmentalizing, that
Mm.
is also something that became non-negotiable over time. And by which I mean, I set very clear boundaries,
Yeah.
um, to myself also, and to people in my personal space, also in the professional space.
Mm.
That is also important. So defining when and where I need to prioritize work and my personal life is
Yeah.
very important. So it's not so, even to people at work, if something is important to me in my personal life, or if my work, I want to cut off at a certain time, or if I'm going on vacation and don't want to be bothered,
Mm.
then people at work also cannot come and
Yeah.
bother me. So
True.
setting clear boundaries has helped prevent burnout, because I faced very, very severe burnout
Mm.
because I was trying to do it all and be perfect at everything. But setting clear boundaries has helped prevent burnout, and has ensured, and which is more important, which ensured that I'm fully present in both areas.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know so that is something that has helped me over time, with as we're sort of becoming older. I have learned to prioritize self-care, and
Yes.
this is what I tell my daughter also. She's It's been a year since she's been working, and she lives overseas. So, and then she says that, I today I forgot to eat. And I'm like, what do you mean you forgot to eat? And
Mm.
I think back to when I was that person, working around the clock and forgetting basic things of self care. But today, I prioritize self care because I know I have to put on that oxygen mask on myself first before I put it onto others.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easy to put yourself last. We all do, as women, as mothers, as female founders. It's, when you're juggling multiple roles, you do end up putting yourself last. But I've realized that maintaining my physical and mental well-being, at least for me, is crucial for long-term balance. So, um, small things, I'm not saying that I do a lot of things, but small, regular self-care practices helps prevent my stress from building up. And it's new, it's something that I'm working on now, but I can see that it helps. And
So,
one more thing that I want to really add, that has worked very well for me, is to, something that I never used to do earlier, but I do now, is that I delegate and I
yes.
seek support, y-
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and there is no heroism in wearing that cape 24/7.
True.
There
Absolutely.
isn't. This is what I've realized, that
Yeah.
there's no need to be superwoman. What are you trying to prove? And I think those days of proving have gone.
Mm.
Um, so I don't hesitate to delegate tasks. And, earlier I used to sulk. I used to say that, oh, this person should have known.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Nobody is guessing. Nobody has the
Fast.
time or is interested to guess what you need. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have started spelling it out.
Yes.
I need, whether it's from my spouse or my children. When my mom was alive and she used to help me, I used to really, I spell it out, both at work and at home. I spell it out. I surround myself with a support network,
Mm.
whether it's family, friends, team, to
Mm.
manage responsibility. So that means even co-opting other moms.
Yeah.
If on a particular day I cannot go to, I can't do something or I can't be there, I will reach out to my support network and I say, can you, you know,
Yeah.
do this for Ahana?
Mhm.
So there is no ego. I think I've just let go of that whole need to be a superwoman.
There is no
And
need.
there is nothing. And then and all of this has happened because Sangeeta, I've redefined what success means to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's how I managed to sort of keep it all together, though it's every day doesn't look, the way I'm speaking about it, it's not always like that.
It never is.
But
It never is. But at least we
it
make the
never
effort.
is.
We understand what is it that we want, and then we put it into
Yes,
practice. It takes time, but I think we get there if we set our minds. If we don't know ourselves, like you are saying, seeking help, seeking support, delegating. Nobody is a mind reader. How can people know what we want unless and until we spell it out? So it has to start from us. We have to believe that we can't do it all, and then we take measures to get things done, because obviously the life has to be lived and things have to be done. So if I can't do it, somebody else can step in. So I think that's very, very critical. Yeah.
absolutely. And the way I've redefined success is that, success doesn't have to be about achieving perfection in every
Yeah.
area.
Oh, absolutely.
But
There's nothing is perfect.
it's rather about finding fulfillment in both personal and professional achievements on
Yes.
your own terms. What
And
does it look like for me?
doing the
You know,
best that you can. And if you can't do it, then admitting it also. Because like you
absolutely.
said, you have to, you just can't believe that you can kind of do it all. All right. So living our lives the way we are, and there's a constant battle between, something good, something bad, setbacks, disappointments, all of that. But when we are faced with a disappointment or a setback, sometimes it becomes difficult to move on and
Yes,
get back on
of course.
track. So when you are faced with such a situation, how do you do it? I mean, how do you kind of get yourself back on track?
I struggle. I struggle a lot, and everything that told you has come. The awareness and the decision to be that person has come after a lot of struggle, after a lot of tears. It's not been easy, I can tell you.
Yeah.
But I have shifted my perspective on failure, Sangeeta.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, to me, I view like early when we started talking, and you mentioned this as well. Um, I do view setbacks as learning opportunities rather than defeats.
True. Hmm.
And this is a new me. I mean, this has come after a lot of experiences, good
Hmm.
and bad, I would say. So each failure has provided me with valuable insights.
Hmm.
And every failure, because you don't stop failing,
Yeah.
you fail at something every day, whether it's big or small, you fail at something every day.
Hmm.
But I look at it as something that, it refines my approach.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I have embraced the idea that failure is part of the growth process.
Hmm.
And the fact is that I'm still growing.
Of
It
course.
really doesn't matter what life stage I'm at.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
still growing. It's not the end of the journey. Failure is not the end of the journey, but it's actually fueling the growth that lies ahead.
Absolutely.
So this is this is how I look at failure. And when I'm feeling miserable and when something has not gone my way or I've not achieved a goal that I had to, or if I've had to let go of somebody, or anything on a day-to-day basis. Even as a mom, if I've not really lived up to that ideal on a particular day, I feel very bad. Of course, I'm human. I can't, I'm as human as everybody else. But I sort of allow that feeling to wash over me. I feel every bit of it. I sort of, step back from the situation and then evaluate it and see what I've learned from it.
Yeah.
It may not, the learning may not come then and there. Maybe it comes by the end of the day. Maybe it comes 3 days later. But I use that failure as an opportunity to learn something from. So this is what I'm really working on, and it does help.
It does. And I
Right.
think like it's that glass half full, half empty thing. If you have to look at it as half empty, it's not going to get you anywhere. It is half full. Count your blessings and look at this as an opportunity to make you better. It is giving you room for improvement. So look at it that way. And I think just move on. That's what it is. So, Devapriya, you have two daughters of your own. And plus, you are surrounded by women who you are trying to help, empower, guide, mentor, whatever, all of it. So, but then, and of course, women, from all kinds of backgrounds, age groups, all of that. So, if, and I'm sure you do, you come across young girls, girls who are on the threshold of their personal and professional lives, early 20s or, 18, 19, whatever. What is that advice that you would like to give them? Maybe one single piece of advice or as many as you want. What is it that you want them to keep in mind as they kind of, step into the world?
Okay, so I think I probably won't be able to sum it up in a sentence, but I would say that, I would ask them to believe in themselves. So I would say to them, believe in yourself, pursue your passions, and never let anyone diminish your worth or your potential.
Hmm.
Live life as a victor and not as a victim.
Very well said. Yeah, yeah.
Remember, you can have it all.
Hmm.
You can have it all.
Hmm.
Maybe not all at the same time, every time,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you can build the life of your dreams.
Hmm.
It is possible.
Yes, it
So
is.
in a nutshell, this is what, it might sound very big, but these are the basics.
Yeah.
Don't give the control of your life in the hands of somebody else.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is
Yeah.
what I would always say.
I think that's so important. You've summed it up so well. It kind of, covers everything. Believe in yourself, follow your dreams, and don't let anybody take control of your life. So, whether it is money, it is your emotions, it is your whatever it may be, you have to be the one in control. That is so, so critical. All right. So, Devapriya, of course, when we look around us, we see women, you, and there's so many other women who are doing so well for themselves, pursuing their dreams, ambitions, passions, making a name for themselves. Yet, there are some challenges which still persist, some biases that still continue to exist despite, all this. So, again, what are these some of these challenges that you think are still there and on which we need to work?
I think stereotyping is the biggest challenge that we need to work around.
Okay.
Um, we need to bust myths. We need to and we need to do it. Women, as women, we need to do it for ourselves and for other women. And sometimes, women can be women's worst enemies at times. We do it to other women. I think we should stop stereotyping other women
Mm.
also,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I think, we have to let go of the whole imposter syndrome. It's a very big challenge. Every time, there's a very powerful visualization, Sangeeta. When I came across it years ago,
Mm.
it resonated so deeply. It's the image of a big, powerful horse. The horse is large. And one of his legs is tied to, with a flimsy rope, it's tied to a plastic chair.
Okay.
And when I saw that visual, what came to me was just look at this.
Mm.
It just sums up what we women do to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't realize that, we don't realize that we just need, like that horse, we just need to move. We're not tied down. The
Yeah.
cage is in our mind. The
Hmm.
cage is in our mind. The cage is often very self-created. So
Hmm.
that big, powerful horse is so much stronger than that little rope and that plastic chair,
Hmm.
but believes that because it's tied, it can't move.
Yes.
I think we need to, as women, we need to overlook those stereotypes. We need to bust our own, we need to work on our own imposter syndrome, that voice in our heads that constantly tells us that we are not good enough, we are not enough. But
Hmm.
we are. I mean, if we are not good enough, then who is?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Just see what is possible. I
Hmm.
mean, if you look back on your morning and I look back on my morning and I think of everything that we did right up to this point where literally I locked my door and and I'm focusing on this conversation.
Hmm.
We've done a lot and
We-
we will do a lot during the course of the day and the
Absolutely.
week ahead and the month ahead. So why do we diminish our own selves? That is,
So
I think, a
again,
very,
I
very
think
big
that
challenge that
comes from what you offered as a piece of advice, which is self-belief. Believe in yourself.
yes,
Have confidence, know that you can do it because actually you are doing it. It's not
you
even
are
as
doing.
or not. It's just you need to change your mental makeup. So again, I think we can expect others to change when we change ourselves. Like they say, charity begins at home. You have to start
Absolutely.
with your own selves, your own minds, before you expect others' minds, opinions, biases, anything it may be, before you expect that to change. You have to change yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I always say that women's voices, and especially, what you're doing an amazing job of putting women's voices out there.
Thank
Women's voices and perspectives, our voices, our perspectives are crucial
you.
in challenging those biases, in
Absolutely.
driving innovation, in creating more inclusive and equitable systems around all sectors of society and industry. We have to do it, our voices, through our voices.
So, which
And
is
we
what,
have to,
yeah,
right, we have to serve as role models and visible examples of what is possible.
yes,
We are not privileged. We work very hard to be those role models, I think.
yeah.
And visibility and really going out there to show future leaders that it can be possible. I
Hmm.
think it's our absolute responsibility. It
Yes.
is.
And that is where, so this brings me to the next question. Also, you've answered it partially that we need to amplify women's voices. Women's voices need to be heard. First of all, they have to say it, and then they need to be amplified because just you and I having a conversation is not going to help. Yes, a little, but if we really wanted to help a lot, it needs to be
Mm.
amplified. So that is where, my question was about, the role of these kind of platforms, how critical it is to have these kind of platforms, and what do you think? I mean, we should be having more of them, and we should be doing as much as possible to push them. So I guess that's what you've said, that we need to do it, and that is where actually this whole idea of About Her also came, because I wanted that somebody, of course there are so many others also, but I think all of us together can make a lot of difference. What do you say?
I completely agree. And About Her is a very important platform. And when you said that you and I having a conversation may not really create that impact, but I think it will create tremendous impact. And every conversation
Yes.
matters.
Yeah.
What you're doing is absolutely commendable. I founded Connexus just for this reason,
Hmm.
just to be able to be the mentor um, or the hand to hold that I probably didn't have when I was in my corporate career and then later in my entrepreneurial journey.
Hmm.
So I felt that it was my responsibility to pay it forward. I created Connexus as a platform where initially we started small, but it's becoming a snowball.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you decide to have the audacity and be audacious to really step out and say, I want to create a difference.
Yeah.
This is my voice. It may be small right now, but
Yeah.
it will really get amplified as 10x, 100x.
Yeah.
It will go to the next level, but we need to just start somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Like,
Connexus was formed during the pandemic, in fact, and it's just taken a life of its own. It's
yeah.
front and center of what I do. But I will keep doing more and more and more because I really believe that our perspectives matter,
Yes.
and we need to create that ecosystem and that platform where collectively we're able to amplify those voices and serve them
Yes.
better and better every day.
We need more and more of these. And yes, we can start. Obviously, we all start at a small level, at a small scale, but we can really build it up. Okay. So, Devapriya, there's another issue or challenge or whatever you may want to call it, which I observe around me, which is that of mental health of people. So, of course,
Yes.
it's not that only women have such challenges. It's like across genders, across age groups, you observe. But when it comes to addressing these challenges, do you think such challenges when it comes to women are being given the same and equal amount of attention, or you think not really? I mean, what are your views on it?
So I think it's not so much about being given attention. Um, Men don't talk about mental health issues. Men don't really even acknowledge that they have mental health issues, but they do.
Yeah, of course.
But for women, if we talk about balance, I would say that women's mental health issues often get overlooked or are not inadequately or adequately addressed in many societies and healthcare systems. And there is a historical reason for this also, Sangeeta. When I started analyzing my own mental health, I did a lot of research and I realized that historically, medical research has often focused on male subjects.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you're really doing that research, you're researching males.
Absolutely.
And that has led that has led to gaps in understanding women's health issues, including mental health. So that's where it all began. And then it sort of continued mental health issues for women, so in general, mental health issues face stigma.
They do.
Also in our society, developed society, it's a done thing to say that you're working with a psychiatrist or a psychologist or you have a life coach. But in India, we are still, it has progressed, but we still need to get to that stage where it's not considered a stigma. But women face additional judgment or dismissal of their concerns. So I would say both happen. You're judged even by other women. I mean, you're going through the same thing, but a woman is judging you. Or you're dismissed. Your concerns are dismissed. And I have also seen that there's misdiagnosis. And I've seen this firsthand. Some symptoms may be, attributed to hormonal changes.
Yeah,
or dismissed as you being emotional.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
very emotional, you're very sensitive, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive. What is too emotional? Who's the judge of that? And all of these things, leads to improper treatment sometimes. So depression is actually something which is a clinical condition and needs to be treated. But how many women can stand up and say, oh, I am depressed? Or how many family members will say that, oh, you are depressed, therefore you need treatment? Doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. On top of that, there are societal pressures.
We
talked about it earlier. Women often I mean, always, I would say, juggle multiple roles. Career, caregiving, household management, mother, spouse, daughter-in-law,
so many
society, but your social life. Dare you be missing from 3 events in a row, your social circle will drop you. Or give you that taunt that these days madam is so busy.
True.
It happens. And this can lead to so much stress and burnout that, and it's normalized.
It
It's
is.
not addressed.
That's the sad part. It is normalized. Yeah, yeah,
So mental health for women, I don't think we're there where we need to be.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Okay, so just going off to a different tangent, wherein I want to talk about what we, again, it is based on what I've observed around me and what I myself am doing, maybe not completely, but to some extent, which is where people, you've also done it, of course, people in their midlives decide to switch gears, which I call
Yes.
midlife rebooting, and take to other careers, other professions, other vocations, which maybe, kind of speak to them more than what they had been doing all these years. So, what do you have to say about that? Good, bad, should happen? Why is it happening? All of that.
I love the terminology midlife rebooting.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is. And I don't think it's talked about enough. So thank you for putting it out there, because I could go on about this for hours. But
Mm.
just to put it in a nutshell, I think midlife rebooting, I love this term, so I'm going to keep using it.
Yeah, sure.
Midlife rebooting for women often has unique characteristics, and challenges. So at the heart of it, I would say that there are career shifts that happen. So many women use this time to pursue delayed career ambitions.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you've probably taken time off for caregiving or for your parenting,
Hmm.
and now you find yourself seeing that you're an empty nester, or your children are growing up and you don't really need to give them that much time, so you pursue delayed career ambitions, maybe look for a board role, maybe look for a situation where you can return to work if that's what you want.
Yeah.
But many women actually start businesses,
Yeah, they do.
especially if they focused on early family earlier in life. So career shift is something that I've seen, and we work with second career professionals, women
Hmm.
specifically, to help them get back to work, or help them build their personal brand so that they can get back to work, or help them build businesses and
Hmm.
put
Hmm.
them on track. So this is something that I've seen a lot, because I think you reach a stage when you feel that you don't have much time left,
Yeah.
and you really want to give it your best,
True.
and there are no second chances. So second career professional women are very focused and very, very sincere.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what um, I talked about emptiness syndrome. So children leaving home can be a catalyst for reassessing personal goals, for picking up hobbies, for your identity,
Hmm.
literally rebooting what you even do in your personal life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it could have happened to me, but I have 11 years between my two kids, so I'm not going to be an empty nester anytime soon. But
Hmm. Hmm.
all my friends are, everyone around me,
Yeah. Yeah.
for me, one child has gone, so I feel that part of the nest is very empty.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's freed up a lot of space, and it's caused me to, you know, create many opportunities for myself.
Hmm.
Women do this.
Yeah.
One more thing which it's very close to my heart, again, not talked enough, and I'm actually, working on something around this, which I'm doing in stealth mode. So no spoilers yet, but I'll
Hmm.
talk about it very soon, in a few months, hopefully.
Hmm.
Menopause. Menopause. When
Yeah.
we talk about midlife rebooting, I want to bring this word into the mix, because we don't talk
No
about it.
problem. Yes. Right.
So it's got a large part to do with this whole rebooting, because hormonal changes can prompt reflection on health, lifestyle, personal priorities.
Hmm. Hmm.
So a lot of things can be done if you acknowledge, or if you're aware that you're in that perimenopause or menopause stage, and
Yeah.
not really try and be who you were in your
Yes.
earlier, and
Absolutely.
acknowledge that you're going through this phase, and customize your life to to suit this
Yeah. I
phase of
agree.
yours.
Hmm. I think
So
that's it. You need
yes, so
to
so midlife
realize.
reboot is all about some of these things that we've touched upon.
Hmm. Hmm.
One more thing I just want to add, it just sort of crossed my mind, which happens, I've seen this happening, is that around this time is when we look at building new social networks.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know, somehow I've seen this playing out a lot, where you look at forming new new interests, new friendships around those interests, and
Mm-hmm.
professional connections aligned with evolving interests.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I think it's all like I think now we in today's times, we are realizing that we need to do this. We're accepting it. There is a lot more flexibility around our thought process, and there is a lot of inspiration also. We see so many people doing these things, so it's kind of normalized in that sense. And I think life, I firmly believe, is a constant, state of growth and evolution. You never stop growing. You find you reached a certain stage and age, your kids have gone, all of that. You have time now to invest in yourself, broaden your horizon, look at skills. I mean, what is it that you can do? There is so much that's happening around you. I mean, earlier also there was, but now there's so much awareness. And I think this is one area where social media plays a great role, because you see other women, other people doing it. So, you become aware that, okay, this can be done and that can be done and this aligns with me. So there is a lot more food for thought now than there was earlier. And along with that comes, the fact of acceptance. You are okay with it. The world is okay with it. So then again, the world is your oyster. You can do what you want, and you should, rather than just sitting and saying, okay, now I need to retire and all. You don't need to. Like, I think your
Right?
dad is a perfect example. You don't need to. Stay there, do it, and make your life as fulfilling as possible. Okay,
Beautifully said. Yes,
thank you.
indeed.
We do, we do. So, looking ahead, of course, I'm sure you have grand plans for Connexus. I mean, the way you are just forging ahead and doing so much. So, professionally, personally, where do you see yourself? I mean, I can see certain things, but what about you? What do you think?
This is not an easy question to answer,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have some, goalposts and checklists, and all of that is really created by certain thought processes of mine.
Okay.
And I would say that, like you said, aspirations never die. So I do have, very tangible goals for my business.
Okay.
Um, Taking it is a cross-border business, but really doing more, sort of launching certain programs to help truly build a global entrepreneurial ecosystem for women founders. And we're soon going to launch something, a very, very robust program for called Lead Her Accelerate. So that's something that we're going to launch, which is looking at accelerating, and today's conversation really sums it all up, but looking at accelerating a woman entrepreneur, looking at various aspects of her life, not just the work aspect.
Wonderful.
So we'll soon be launching that initially in India and the UK, and hopefully in other places.
Mm.
So goals will remain as far as professional goals go, but I would say that professionally, I look at myself continuing doing more of purpose-driven work
Okay.
and less hustle and workaholism.
All right.
So professionally, that's my commitment to myself.
Hmm.
Um, Personally, travel a lot,
Okay.
focus on myself,
Mm-hmm.
get back to fitness,
Mm-hmm.
get back to singing.
Okay. Interesting.
And yes, I mean, I used to sing on many stages and gave it all up. But again, it's a commitment to myself that I will get back to my singing, and I will carve out much more time for all of this. So
Well,
less hustle, more life, more living, and
all the best.
hopefully I will achieve that.
And I always believe what you manifest, you're able to get it, you're able to do it. It may take time, because, we are manifesting at times a lot of things. So they all cannot happen together. So if we can't do it all at the same time, I think the powers that we also cannot do everything at the same time, but it will happen. So yes, all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
So now, Devapriya, we come to the rapid fire round. 5 quick questions and 5 quick answers. Okay, all set?
All right, I shall try.
All right. Okay, so we'll
Mhm.
start with a simple one. What works for you? Monday motivation or Friday excitement?
I would definitely say Monday motivation.
Okay, great, great. All right. Next one. Do you have a secret talent that no one knows about it? Obviously, if it's a secret, no one knows about it.
Yes, singing, like I said,
Yes.
I
Okay.
want to get back to it, but
Right.
yes, singing.
All right. Do you have a favorite book or a podcast?
Should I say about her show? Because it is very, very
I
famous.
would love that. Yes. I would
I
love that.
love your podcast. So,
Thank you.
I would like to say that, but I will show you a book.
Okay.
It's not a word, but it's a book. It's called Portfolio Life.
Okay.
And I'm loving this book as I'm reading it right now. It says the portfolio life, future-proof your career to craft a life worthy of you, and it's by author called Christina Wallace. And
Okay.
I came across this book recently,
Mhm.
and it's become my favorite book
Mhm.
because and I've started a lot of what I've said today is also inspired by this book because it helps you lead your life as a portfolio, not just of your work, but of your interests and of your
Okay.
various roles. So it's very nice. So that is my favorite book at this point, and I would recommend that everybody at our stages of life should read this book.
Great. I'm going to get hold of it. Thanks for the recommendation. All right.
I will send this book to you, Sangeeta.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
I
you. I
will send.
love that. All right. Okay. Next one. What is your antidote for a bad day?
I think Milo, my
Yeah.
dog, little
Okay.
puppy. I
Mm.
never really knew that I could be a willing and happy and or obsessed actually pet mom, dog mom.
Uh-huh.
And when they wanted to bring Milo, the whole family, I was the one who resisted. And for after 40 days, I was going to give him away,
Okay.
but he really has become my stress buster.
Wow.
So whenever I have a bad day, whenever I have a bad time, I
Mm.
just go snuggle up to him. His love is unconditional.
Yes.
You know,
That's true.
he doesn't say anything, but he loves back so much. So I think just seeing him, hugging him,
Mm.
taking him for a walk is my biggest antidote to a bad day.
Okay. All right. And now the last one. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
To be in two places at the same time.
Only two?
As of now, me too.
All right.
The reason, the reason being that I always say that I never have my kids
Huh.
under one roof, and it's been a while. So I
Yeah.
really, look forward to the times when we can all be together as a family. I call myself a long distance, family.
Huh.
Um, because we're four people, we're in three different places.
Okay.
And what I really would love is that sometimes my daughter in London, she has so many issues and she needs help and she just wants me there, and she tells me on her walks, lunch break walks and all, she tells me that all my problems would be solved if I could have my mummy near me,
Oh,
you
how
know
sweet is
and
that?
yeah, and she's 22, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I can hear from the other room, from my 11-year-old, Mama, Mama, is something has happened, or
Yeah.
I need this, or the AC is leaking, or see
Mm.
what Didi has done, I can't find this, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just feel like if I could have superpower that I could be there solving her issues or being with her, and I could be here solving hers, and I could, do this seamlessly, I would love that. It would really make a big difference in my
I
life.
I think we all would love that if we could do that. Yes, that's true. Okay, so Devapriya, an absolutely delightful conversation, if I may say that. It's always a pleasure, to talk to women, not whether you're accomplished in the way society looks at accomplishments or whatever it is, because for me, every woman is an achiever because we all doing small, big things all through our lives, which make us rather achievers in every sense of the word. But yes, listening to you, your perspective, your views, your aspirations for the future has been so insightful and delightful. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Sangeeta. Like I said, even before we started the conversation, I said that I'm looking forward to this because I can actually see how this conversation is going to flow, because
Yeah.
two very committed individuals. We're on the same mission in
Yeah.
different ways and maybe even similar ways. I'm so glad that our paths have crossed and
Yeah.
that I've been able to add value to this, and we've been able to have an absolutely beautiful conversation, which I know could go on for a few more hours.
Of course,
But
definitely.
uh, but thank you, Sangeeta. It's been an absolute delight, an absolute pleasure to be on the About Her show today.
Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her show.